Jalen Hurts here. Philadelphia Inquirer's Jeff McLean reports that Jalen Hurts practices with the first team during Wednesday's walkthrough.
Which is great. My fantasy ride or die back in play. We talked about this game yesterday. I know we're going to get Connor into kind of playoff implications for all the NFL teams. They need this game. The Eagles must win this game to get the number one seed in the NFL, or like to clinch. There's other ways they could get the number one seed, but they really need this. If they win this game, they're the number one seed. They have home field throughout the playoffs in the NFC, so that's important. And I just think this is so. Look, Jalen Hurts is starting. Like we expect, he practiced with the first team. As you said, it's a walkthrough, but it's Wednesday. They need this game. Feels like Jalen Hurts is going to play, and if he plays, you're starting him, and you're starting all of your Eagles in a must-win game for Philly.
Yeah, I would be shocked if Hurts didn't play, given that he did get some practice in last week. Now he's going through practice again. To your point, Matthew, they do need this game. They can't count on the Arizona Cardinals beating the 49ers and Sam Howell beating the Cowboys, which is what they would need to get the one seed if they lose. And so, yeah, I think it's just full steam ahead for the Eagles. The line is Eagles minus 14 against the Giants. I'm not even sure that's big enough. Giants aren't going to play their guys. Brian Daboll has been very kind of cagey. I don't think they're going to play their guys. And also, they played their guys against the Eagles like a month ago, and they lost by 26.
Did it matter?
No.
Jalen Hurts specifically in that Week 14 game against New York, 30.4 fantasy points. He had 77 rushing yards and a touchdown, 217 and 2 passing touchdowns. He just had a monster game. We would expect against the Giants' backups defensively for him also to have a big game here. So this is it's a perfect fantasy storm if you have Eagles skill players, because they're really motivated and their opponents are not.
Yes.
And it seems like Jalen has quietly hinted at if this was a playoff game, the stretch he's missed, he would be out there. So maybe they're treating this like a must-win situation where he's going to be out there no matter what.
And the weird part is, so there's two things going on elsewhere, and we can move on with this real quickly. But I just think, like, Jalen Hurts has been in the MVP conversation. And he hasn't been out there for the last couple of weeks, and so it's been more talk about Mahomes and Allen and Burrow, and so I think Jalen Hurts obviously wants to come out and try to make a statement game. And the other thing is that if he comes out and has a monster game, and the Eagles have this monster game, which we expect because they need the win and the Giants are going to play, it just further underscores, Jay, your point about the fact that Nick Sirianni should not be Coach of the Year.
No, I mean, he goes 0-2 with Gardner Minshew, who's like a pretty good backup quarterback, and then Shanahan goes 6-0 with Brock Purdy. I mean, it's a pretty clear point of comparison. So, yeah, I think Hurts definitely wants to win MVP. I don't think he will. But if Mahomes loses to the Raiders and Hurts comes back and beats the Giants, then it might be a discussion. But I think Mahomes will win anyway.
Right, and I just think when they play that well with Hurts,
yes,
having seen the 2 losses with Minshew,
exactly,
I think that's just going to further exacerbate, and amplify.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, Sirianni needs Hurts more than apparently Kyle Shanahan needs anyone.
It's Jalen Hurts' team, and the Niners are Kyle Shanahan's team, because you keep just rolling through whoever at quarterback. Put David Blau in there. Apparently they just win the Super Bowl.
Speaking of Kyle Shanahan's 49ers, they will not see DeAndre Hopkins in Week 18, guys. Hopkins with the knee will not play. Kind of makes me wonder, have we seen the end of the Hopkins era in Arizona potentially?
Yeah, potentially. Weird couple of years for DeAndre Hopkins. I think he was banged up all last year, just wasn't getting the target share, just wasn't having games over 90 receiving yards. And he comes out this year, looks like peak Houston DeAndre Hopkins, like the best receiver in the game. And now he's had these injuries as well, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. Obviously, they're probably not going to have Kyler Murray for a stretch of next season.
Said that. He said he probably will not be ready for 2023. That's pretty rare honesty from
Everything
a coach on an injury.
Just bad in Arizona at the moment. It's not going well.
Well, I was just going to say it's going to be a fascinating offseason as well, because Kingsbury is rumored to be on the hot seat as well. Their general manager is taking a leave of absence from the team, and we don't know what his sort of future status is with the team as well. And so, right, and you've got Zach Ertz, big part of their offense the last year and a half or so, but he's, off the top of my head, I think he's 33 or 34 coming off of an ACL. They like Trey McBride, their rookie tight end. What happens there with him? And so, yeah, it's a
could be torn down.
It's going to be a fascinating offseason for Arizona. So we'll see what ends up happening with Nuke Hopkins. Wherever he plays next year, though, he'll be a top draft pick.
On the more optimistic side of wide receiver things, Deebo Samuel, dealing with the ankle and the knee injury, is practicing in full for Week 18 to get ready to play against the Cardinals. I feel like this would be a little bit of a surprise, Barry.
Well, they'd always said when the injury happened that he could potentially come back before the end of the season, so he's practicing. Here's the thing, though. He is practicing in full, and that's important. And the Cardinals, I believe, well, you'll walk through us, but I believe the Niners need this game to clinch the second seed.
Yep. We're going to get there, yep.
So we would expect him to play, but you just wonder, does Debo play limited snaps? They haven't needed him. I mean, you know what I mean? That's the thing. And also Arizona, again, it's a game that we would expect them to win. They're 14-point favorites in this game. The Niners are 2-touchdown favorites in this game. And so with Debo, it's just sort of like I have Debo at 33, wide receiver 33. So it's a little bit of a hedge. Does he play a full complement of snaps? Is it just sort of to get his feet wet kind of thing? Because they probably won't need a full game from him to beat Arizona.
I think, best guess is he plays 20 snaps, about that, which, I mean, he's Deebo Samuel, so he may only need that much to provide fantasy value, but you don't want to be relying on Deebo. I do think it's just get the feet wet before you play in the playoffs. You don't want to bring him into a playoff game without a month of having played at all, but they don't need him in this game.
He is a risk-reward wide receiver 3. Hey, I want to take over hosting duties here for 1 second, Connor, because I know every single year you go through and do draft prep for Bleacher Report. You've done it for years and years and years. So yesterday, Ron Rivera and my Commanders announced that the third quarterback will start for the team this week, rookie Sam Howell out of North Carolina. What am I and the Commanders getting out of Sam Howell?
Yeah, I was excited to see this one, guys. I mean, I thought Sam Howell was underappreciated in the draft. I had a third-round grade on him. He's got good mobility. He's got a thick build to take on hits. He makes plays out of the pocket. Evaluating him, it reminded me more of a plus Case Keenum style of play, a guy that's going to have success when you cut the field in half, when you allow him to move. He's got a strong arm. That's the thing I like about Sam Howell. He's not 6'4", he's not 6'5", he's about 6'2", but he can hit all 3 levels of the field. I think it's a good move by the Commanders. See what you have right here. They've had guys play. We know Wentz has struggled with turnovers. We know Heineke has limited traits. You don't have to worry about that with Sam Howell. I want to see him come out, play freely, play loose, and see what he could do throwing the ball down the field to Dotson and McLaurin. That's his best skill set.
And this is a guy that, you can talk about this, but it felt like his stock really dropped after his last year in college, that there was talk about him as a first rounder his first couple of years in college, right?
Yeah, so we start before the 2022 season doing all the mock drafts. Sam Howell is one of the first quarterbacks taken, and he's in every first-round mock draft that summer. A lot of talent leaves UNC, a lot of talent, wide receiver, offensive line. They lost Javonte Williams and Michael Carter in the backfield. Imagine replacing that.
Right.
He has a down year.
And Diami Brown, who was really good. Diami Brown was really good in Carolina.
It was really Sam Howell and their one receiver, Josh Downs. He has no talent out there. He has a down year, not a bad year, a down year, and somehow goes from being a first-round prospect to a guy taken on day 3 of the draft, which is crazy to me. So I think the Commanders, when they took him, I thought maybe not strike gold is a little bit too rich of a term, but I think a guy that can make starts in this league and can make plays down the field and with his legs. I had him ahead of Desmond Ridder. Let me put it like that.
Fair enough. And ahead of Brock Purdy.
Yes, well ahead of Brock Purdy.
I don't know who told me this. Somebody, and maybe it was you, but I remember talking to somebody who is a draftnik, some of yourself, and I asked him about Sam Howell, and they basically said, if Sam Howell gets on the field, he ain't coming off.
Yeah, he's got that edge to his game where guys rally around him. He will lower the shoulder instead of sliding. That kind of player. And he's was one of the best leaders in college football for a long time. So I was just surprised by the fall, and I'm excited to see what he could do for this offense that could use a little injection of life to end the season.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to me that the line only moved from 6 to 7, going from Wentz to Howell, quarterback who's never played in the NFL. Lot. And look, going to 7, it's a key number, so that is a bigger move than like 3.5 to 4.5. But at the same time, it just shows how bad Wentz has been. Sorry, Matthew, I know it's been a grim 50 years for Washington quarterbacks.
It has been, but you know what? To Connor's point, 100% agree, absolutely right move. See what you have. Commanders are going to have a mid-round pick, which is they always do, and that's the problem is they're always in that 15 to 17 to 18 range, and they can never get a good quarterback. But this is a quarterback-rich draft coming out, and so I think, and maybe they trade up. But it's hard to judge on one game.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that I know internally in Washington, they like what they've seen out of Sam Howell in practice.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him play, and it was a good move.
And I do think fantasy-wise, I think to your point, there hasn't been much movement. We know what the Scott Turner offense is going to be. They're going to take shots. They're going to take shots. So, I think you would start McLaurin and you would start Dotson, even though it's against the Cowboys. It's a tough matchup, but volume should be there for both guys.
And Cowboys secondary has been gettable lately. They're not playing at the level that they were 2 months ago.
Yeah. So, all right, let's before we move to break, guys, I want to get to a positive update here from the Bills on Damar Hamlin. The Bills, right before we went on air today, released a statement. Per the physicians caring for Damar Hamlin at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center, Damar has shown remarkable improvement over the past 24 hours. While still critically ill, he has demonstrated that he appears to be neurologically intact. His lungs continue to heal, and he is making steady progress. Guys, this is an update that we absolutely love to see for Damar Hamlin.
Yeah.
All right, with that, we will take a break, and when we are back, we will get into the AFC playoff picture, some playoff motivation, what teams need for their seeding, and what teams might not have anything to play for.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and Rotoworld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, okay, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from Rotoworld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.